Yeah, yeah.
Oh, really? I thought it was on a prior album.
No, that's on. That's the closes the album. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I have to say the performance was not too eventful because Grohl basically simply kept a backbeat because it's sort of a slow rendition of the song. And here's a clip. So, Dave, what did you make of this?
Well, like I said last time, I'm not really a big fan of their style of music.
Right.
So it really doesn't do much for me. And yeah, you're right. Grohl, it was a total name check, but it was a waste of his talent. Right. I mean, it reminded me of the time he drummed for Tom Petty.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And I was like,
what are you going to do? It's just
I think this was like right after Nirvana and right before Foo Fighters. And I was like, oh, man, don't tell me he's the drummer for these guys now. Right. He needs to be doing something else. And, well, he did.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the good news is this album is getting a lot of traction.
Oh, yeah.
It's getting a lot of PR.
Yeah.
I mean, hats off to them. That's great. Again, somebody else getting the Van Halen name out there.
Right.
So even though their music isn't my taste, and I've been reading a lot of people like, yeah, I'm great they're doing Van Halen covers, but I can't listen to this. And great that they're getting out there, great that putting the Van Halen name. So, like I say, hats off to them.
Right. Now, this next piece of news is sort of an interesting one. It's sort of an observation. I'm just going to put it out there for us to chew on. So I'm listening to Eddie Trunk's show on Trunk Nation. He's on Sirius XM Monday through Friday from 2 to 4. It's kind of like my Oprah. I listen to it every afternoon. And
you're his best advertiser.
Yeah, I love Eddie. He's great. The funny thing about his story, so I'm listening to it on August 1st. It's like 25 minutes into the show. And sometimes Eddie has information and he can't really release it, so he kind of like dances around it. But if you kind of know what's going on, you could almost put the pieces together. He's talking about how he spoke to his friend John Five and John Five, the guitarist from Rob Zombie and David Lee Roth band, the DLR Band guitarist. He was like beating around the bush that, John Five might be talking to someone who might, be doing something at Sirius XM. We'll have to see how it all works out. He was real cagey about it. I think it's David Lee Roth. I have a feeling that Dave is buzzing around trying to get on Sirius XM. I'm just telling you. I have a feeling there's something going on. I think he's buzzing about this album and that he has in the can with John Five, and he's doing this Roth show like mad. And I have a feeling that this guy is going to make a move, and that's why I think I mentioned this in the last cast, but I'm reiterating it now because of what Eddie said. It almost backs it up a little bit. He didn't mention Dave's name, but he did say he's a major player in a major rock band. So what do you think of this, Dave?
Well, I wouldn't bet against you.
Yeah.
But don't count me listening. Well, and the thing is, somebody made a really good observation. Actually, it's going to come in the mailbag later, so I'll save my save my comment at that time.
No problem.
But like we always say, he'd be great if someone reins him in.
Right. That's true. That's very true. Also, is on the Van Halen landscape is the EVH and Gear TV show has rebranded. Our friend Eric Broadbent, who was a guest on our show a while back, he is now rebranding it to the Music Gear Network. And he said, this is a quote from him. He put this out on YouTube. Before the conspiracy theories start or any internet gossip, we were not asked by anyone to change our name or forced by any means. The change was 100% an effort internally here by us. We stand by it 100%. We could not be more proud of that decision. What do you make of this?
Well, hey, I don't blame the guy. Because really, if that's what you want to do, I mean, the only two people who are going to sit around for hours and hours and just talk about Van Halen related stuff are you and me.
Right.
So how much content can you really have just focusing on that all the time?
Right.
I mean, and he puts out a quality show. There's no doubt about it.
Sure.
And they've been talking about other stuff besides Van Halen for a while now anyway.
Sure.
So it's just a natural progression for him not to limit himself with that name and just expand it so he can talk about all kinds of stuff. So I'm very happy for him. I'm very excited for him. I mean, it sounds like it's really going well and going in his direction. So I wish him all the best. That's very exciting.
Absolutely. And we wrap up our Van Halen news with some...
Wait a minute. We're done?
Can you believe this? It's a record.
We're done. You know why? You know why we're done? Because Sammy's not touring. He's not doing press.
Right.
So that's why half of the news is gone
That's
this
right.
month.
It's gonzo. And also... You know, Ed and Al are underground, and Dave is not just doing his podcast, and there's not a lot to report from Al's podcast. I mean, they're fun and interesting to listen to, but there's not a lot of Van Halen news. The only kind of time he mentions Van Halen is when I toured back in '79, opening up for Black Sabbath, or like he does stuff like that, but he never like talks about Van Halen. You know
right,
what I mean?
and we'll get to that later in the mailbag.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
this month was insanely quiet.
Oh yeah, very quiet
in terms of Van Halen news.
Right.
Not that it's all over the place, but we always seem to find stuff.
Right.
But this month it was really quiet.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is actually shocking news, though. This probably might be the newsiest piece of news we have, Dave. So our own friends Romeo Delight. Okay, I should say it correctly. Romeo Delight, the ultimate Van Halen tribute band. So the guys, our friends, the Van Halen tribute band, who was the focus of our Van Halen bashes. Okay, they got a new guitarist, Dave. Mike Beck has left the group. There's no hard feelings. No one got fired. It was all good terms. But he had to leave for, I guess, change of life purposes. And this is a statement from Buddy. Mike Beck is pursuing other musical avenues, and we are happy to announce Chris Gordon, who is nicknamed the Viking. And he is from Media, PA. He has been a highly sought-after session and performing guitarist, recording, touring, and teaching for over 25 years all over the country. He's originally from Delco, and Chris joined the WMGK radio family in 2017. And we are thrilled to have his incomparable talent in Romeo Delight. That's from Buddy Blanchard, the lead singer. That's interesting because it makes our June episode a keepsake, folks. Because now if you go to our June episode, we have an entire live double album of Romeo Delight performing. I think it's like 100 minutes of Van Halen set. It's over 100 minutes. Fantastic. We wish Chris Gordon luck. He made his debut with the band on August 6th at Music Fest, that big show that they were doing. So we want to wish Mike Beck the best, and we want to wish Chris Gordon good luck, and we want to say to our buddies at Romeo Delight, music lives on. As they fly the VH flag nice and high, these guys sound just fantastic, and they had an incredible set at Music Fest, and it went over very well, so hats off to them. What do you say, Dave?
I say good luck to the new guy. You're working with a great bunch of people and a great band. And Dave and I look forward to seeing you next year at our annual Van Halen Bash.
That's right. So that wraps up Van Halen news.
And that's the way it is. Good night.
And yes, even though August might be a quiet month on the news, we got lots of stuff in this episode. We have an interview with John Five. That's right, John Five, the former DLR Band guitarist and current guitarist for Rob Zombie. He's going to be doing an interview with us, and Dave unfortunately was not available to do the interview, so it's just me on that one. But Dave and I are going to be discussing a full breakdown of the DLR album, which is a fantastic record from David Lee Roth. John 5 co-wrote all the songs. And
Most of the songs,
I should say.
Not all
of them. Right. That's right. We're going to be talking in depth about that. I did a little field reporting. I went to see the Rolling Stones with Vinny Pasculli, Dave. One of our listeners invited me to his tailgating party. So I went. We did a little Van Halen interview. We talked about Van Halen a little bit. And then one of his friends from the tailgate talked to me a little bit about her experience with Diamond Dave. So we got into that a little bit, and that's all coming up next. But before all that happens, we have another massive mailbag. Woo! This one's even bigger than the last one. So we're getting to all that Van Halen goodness coming up next. Take a listen.
Trump becoming president because Obama made fun of him, that would be like, imagine if the head of linguistics at Rutgers made fun of David Lee Roth. And then David Lee Roth is like, I'm going to take your job, zibbly-bobbly-boop. And then he, spends a year and all this money, gets the job, goes cartwheeling into the linguistics department. Yeah, head of linguistics, everybody, Diamond Dave. Bring out the coke and the hookers. And then the guy's like, oh no, we're going to be talking about the lack of recursion in 16th century Germanic poetry. And Dave's like, Humbly bibbly zibbly bubbly bibbly. No? Nothing? Okay, that's fine.
If you need a dose of VH, get a taste of the closest thing. Romeo Delight, the ultimate Van Halen tribute band, playing all the hits from the David Lee Roth era, first classic 6 albums, plus deep cuts, some of which have never been played live before by the band. They even throw in popular tracks from the Sammy Hagar era and solo hits. The most viewed Van Halen tribute band on YouTube, Romeo Delight, doing customized recreations of staging, instruments, and costumes from the classic Van Halen era. They even perform entire Van Halen albums in sequence. Romeo Delight plays theaters, casinos, summer indoor and outdoor festivals, and special events. They're also available for private parties. To contact them, call Bud Blanche at 215-704-5144. That's 215-704-5144. Or via email at sonicparade1@yahoo.com. Romeo Delight, the ultimate Van Halen tribute band.
Hi there, this is Martin Popoff, scribbler of many rock books, and you are listening to Dave and Dave Unchained.
Hi, I'm Jackie Martling. My brand new autobiography, The Joke Man, Bow to Stern, is being released. Go to JackieTheJokeMan.com. Great holiday gifts, easy to wrap. I guarantee you are going to love this book.
Some of these rock bands are getting up there, huh? Anybody get out and see the Rip Van Halen tour last year? Want to see David Lee Roth do one of those Van Damme leg splits now, huh? Knock his nads up through his gullet like he's picking that night's Powerball numbers or something.
All right, Dave, you know what time it is.
M-A-I-L-B-A-G. Mailbag!
All right. Yeah, there we go. Nice spirit with that one, and it is mailbag time again. And we got a boatload to get through, Dave, so we are going to start right off with...
All right, let's go. No dawdling.
John Schiller. Okay, John says right here, great podcast. Let's go for a 5-hour podcast. That is not going to happen, John. I'm sorry.
That is not funny.
That's way too long.
That's not funny.
So
I know people like the long podcast, but that's... Not even you, Dave, can go that long.
No, I can't. It's just too much. It's too much. So it's my, so there's a few things here. First, per my previous email talking about Motley Crue being heavy metal. Now I understand a point of view of Dave number 2 about Motley Crue being heavy metal. I agree. When they first arrived on the scene, they were of that genre. But when Metallica came out and Motley delivered Girls, 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 they fell out of that genre with a lot of other bands. Number 2, when I was a sophomore in high school, I got OU 812 the day it arrived. I remember putting it back in my